What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 2 of the Nashville Stampede Out of the Park Baseball 24 series. We are here June 18th, 2024, and your Nashville Stampede are 36 and 36. We sit in 5th place in the South Division, and things have been pretty good. The pitching has been a huge surprise, as you can see. Our rotation's been killing it. The bullpen's been awesome. The offense, on the other hand, has not been good, as I pretty much expected. Also, I realized we've been running with 12 pitchers, so essentially, uh, besides Schulfer, the rotation's been really solid. Maeda's been good, Hauk's been good, Morello's been good, and Ricardo Sanchez, kind of the last guy to make my roster. My chair is about to break. He's been awesome. I've been using him as a follower, and yeah, he's been killing it. He got off to a crazy start to the year. I don't know, one of his first starts. Yeah, I guess they were down here. He's given me like 7, 8 innings to start. I had a couple stinkers in here, but overall he's been really good. Huge surprise for us. The ratings aren't impressive, but yeah, we're happy with that. And Cano's been awesome out of the pen. Moran and Henriquez have also been good. Arias, Nunez have been good. Davies been fine as like a long man slash opener. Nunez has opened a game. Davies done most of that. 12 starts on the year, as you can see. And then Josh Fleming just called him up. We had a couple injuries, so Tanner Banks, who was up with the team for most of the year, he got hurt. He'll be out. He'll be back in a couple days. Darius Vines, I think this happened in the offseason. Lipsius, who wasn't really playing well, but was a young guy we kind of had hope for this year. He's been out. Brandon Dixon as well. Kind of one of my earlier picks. I don't even think it tells. Oh, it does. So 12th round. So he wasn't really that early, I guess. But if you want to sort by WAR here, Vinny Capra's been leading the charge with a league average bat. Oh, actually a little bit below. Let's go to major leagues. Sorry. David Hensley has been leading the pack with a slightly above average bat, a fine glove over at third. I guess we've been playing him. I haven't really been paying that much attention to the season. Like, we're looking like 4 years out to when we start competing. So this is not like an important season by any means. So just kind of keeping my eye on these guys. But Yasmani Grandal, not really doing much with the bat, but has been a good fielder. Maybe a reason that our pitching's been good this season. James Outman has been awesome. Just doing it in center field, right field, wherever we kind of need him. Right now he's out in center, but has played a good amount of right, I think. But it's about 50-50 between those two positions. Will Benson's come back in the last couple of days and lit the world on fire, of course, relative to our team. Really excited for him and what he can bring. Mike Yastrzemski's been fine, a league average bat with a decent glove in the outfield. He's been a big platoon guy. I'm not playing against lefties. His ratings are pretty atrocious. Vinny Capra's been okay, as I think he's been. He's been second base DH most of the time. Pavin Smith has split some time between the outfield and first base. And has done a pretty good job. So, I mean, our hitting hasn't been that bad from like our top guys, but like once you get down here, it gets pretty sad pretty quick. So, J.D. Bleday, who I had pretty high hopes for, we took him in the Rule 5 draft. 26 years old, and he's been awful. It's not like I haven't given him any chances. It just hasn't worked out. Christian Pache, at least he brings a good glove, you can say. Although that hasn't even been that great. But yeah, striking out way too much, not hitting the ball in the ballpark, and he'll be with the team for the rest of the year, but, a spot to look to upgrade. And Andrelton Simmons has been a complete disaster over at shortstop. His range dropped, his hitting is unusable at this point. I'm probably going to wind up releasing him, even though we don't have a replacement. And Hedges has obviously been a black hole at catcher. And we just called this guy Sully Mateus, who was a minor league free agent signing that I made. and he was doing okay in AAA, so decided to give him a shot. He can't be worse than the other guys we were given chances to. So other guys who have been up, Ben Brown, who I guess was our top prospect as a 24-year-old kind of journeyman. Not journeyman, but, a fine pitcher. He's been up for about 4 innings. Gomez has not been up with the team. Jorge Juan has been for a couple innings and was fine. Luis Peralta has not made an appearance on the Major League team, and Carlos Garcia was up for 1 inning. So, not a ton going on there. Salazar has been killing it in AAA. He might get a call up pretty soon if we need a bat. Noel, who was a pretty early pick by us, I believe. We took him in the 10th round. He's been doing well in AAA, but we don't really have a spot for him at the moment. That'll change. Ivan Castillo is kind of a black hole at shortstop, or second base and shortstop. But he'll be back up once we release Simmons. And Cody Clemens was a black hole at third base, so we had to send him down. Darian Blanco has not been up, and Spencer Jones has been in AAA doing fine. So that's where we sit here mid-June. We're going to sim ahead. I'm not going to go crazy at the trade deadline. I don't think we have many movable pieces. Maeda's a guy to look to move. Tanner Houck's under contract. So is Morejón. Most of our pitching staff is actually under control for the next couple seasons, which was by design. Just to try to, keep some continuity here and not have all these holes going into this offseason. Yastrzemski's under contract. Grandal is not. So we'll have to maybe look to move him. Besides that, Simmons obviously is a free agent, but we already talked about him, and Hedges as well. So, no, not too many pieces to move here. I want to keep some guys on the roster. So we'll move ahead to the next checkpoint, probably the trade deadline, see if we can move any of these guys for anything of value. We'll be back. Okay, so it's a couple days later, and I was going to look for trades for Simmons, and there was a bunch of salary dump deals that I wanted to see if I could swing something to kind of take on some bad contracts and get some guys in return. So we're going to go Andrelton Simmons, literally negative. Vinny Capra, who's been a fine player for us this year, but he's 27, almost 28. He's very replaceable. Michel Baez, who has been in AAA and been pretty horrendous. Jorge Juan, who's been up with the team just a little bit and has been fine, but not like a long-term piece for me. And then Noel here, who has been hitting well in AAA, but this batting profile is not going to be good enough for my team in the long term, so I'm cool giving him up. In return, we'll take on Evasil Garcia's next year and a half of his deal, them retaining 15%. We'll also pick up Jacob Amaya, who's not a top prospect, but a really nice second base prospect that I think we could use right now. And then Grant McCray, who could be our long-term center fielder, a really good glove, a lot of speed, pretty decent bat, and has hit well in AAA. He'll probably step in and be my center fielder right now. So, essentially, we're just eating Garcia's money. I don't even know if I'm going to play him. He's, horrible. I guess he's loyal. That's something. Maybe I'll give him a shot on the team for a little bit, but we'll see how the roster shakes up. We're going to complete this trade. So we eat some contracts, bad contracts, to be able to, get some decent prospects in the building. So we still have $36 million available for this year, $79 million for next year. We're 30th in payroll, so not really an issue with the money. So, yeah, this is how it shakes up. Garcia becomes our highest paid player to probably not even play a game in our jersey. So, with that done, I think we're going to call up Ben Brown. He's pitched well in AAA, really well. Let's call him up. We'll go in here and we'll add Jacob Amaya to the roster. And then this would load. Wow. Doesn't happen often with this PC. So Grant McCray will go up to AAA for now. Very good chance he will slot in to our center field position pretty soon. So we'll do all the rest of this off camera, come back with another trade or something else that happens. All right, so we're here at the first year player draft. Very exciting. Since we get Portland the first pick, well, since they have the first pick in the expansion draft and Rule 5 draft, maybe just the expansion draft, I'm not sure. But we're going to take the number one pick because they can't have the first pick and everything. So I did change that. So if you see was number two, that's why. And yeah, let's hop into this. So I haven't even looked at the pool yet, so it'll be interesting to see what we have here. So this second draft is notorious for being pretty bad. Maybe we'll look out though. So I like what I see here. A pretty developed high school guy. Let's go to college guys really quick. Braswell's fine. Um, Carson DiMartini, classic. Braden Montgomery. Cade Morris. You know, not the highest of upsides, but he can pitch in my rotation right now. My scout doesn't like him as much. Or he likes him for different reasons, I guess, than the OSA. So, a guy to look at there, Cade Morris. Will Taylor's a nice player, but I don't know if he's number one overall pick good. Zach Adkisson. Really good four pitches and well developed. I think it might be smart to go for the top high school guy, honestly. We're not going to compete right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter like how good the guy is immediately. And I'd rather bank on some really good tools here with Mullinex. He could probably play center field for me. He's got good speed, good range. My outfield isn't huge. And, the 35 with most of his ratings really intrigues me. And they think we should take him too. I think that's a smart pick. He's just freshly 19. Although being 19 at the time of the draft, that may kick back how many years I have to add him to the 40 man. That might not be right. I know it's like that for 17 and 18-year olds, but um, I believe that's true in real life. My scout wants me to take him. We have Connor Griffin here, classic Rockies legend. Curiel's a nice player too, but I just don't think any of these guys are as developed. And pitchers, I don't know. Cade Morris is really good, but is he the ace that we need with the number one pick? I don't think so. So Molinex, switch hitter. Doesn't look like he has any crazy splits yet, which is good. And he's a good outfielder, so I'm going to go ahead and draft Molinex here. He wants about what we have for our slot here, so no worries there. I'm just going to draft him, though. And let's see who Portland takes number two. They take Carson DiMartini. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't take him there, but that's fine. Curiel's a good pick for Seattle. Braswell's another decent pick. Let's go second round. And let's see where Scott wants us to take. Henry Allen. First base only type. I don't know. Not sure if I'm exactly sold on that. Talon Bell's a good three-pitch guy, I guess. Ethan Murray's got a high upside bat, but low work ethic might prevent him from ever reaching that. Jackson Walker's got a pretty decent bat. Keegan Allen, maybe only a reliever. Caldwell's interesting. Good leader, good work ethic, and intelligence. Only 18. The power potential isn't really there, and he wants a ton of money, though. Looking ahead. Not a ton that catches my eye here in the second round. Conrad Kaysen. High work ethic intrigues me, and a decent bat. Not the best defender. I don't know. This is a pretty disappointing second round here. Tony Hawk is okay. Malachi Knight. I actually took him in the Rocky series. I remember him being in my system. I like this guy's personality, Chase Mobley. Is he worth it? The 33rd overall pick or whatever this comes out to be? I don't know. Maybe Henry Allen is the pick. I kind of shit on him at first. Or maybe Aiden Harris. I don't know who I like better. I guess Harris is a better defensive profile, but is it really that much different? I guess he can play a corner. Corner infielder, he's definitely better. I actually think Aiden Harris is a better player, but he has low leader. He's got high work ethic. Ethan Murray might be the best, but he's got the low work ethic. High intelligence could negate that. He's also impossible, so never mind. Jackson Walker. I don't know if we want to take another infielder. So it's really between these two guys at the top, Henry Allen, Aiden Morris. Man, this is this is a tough pick here. Um, Harris is obviously the better player. Can Allen play any outfield? He can't. So I think I'm going to go Aiden Harris just based on his defensive profile. He wants below slot, so that's good too. Okay, keep moving forward here. We'll go through this third pick and then get out of here so this doesn't drag on too long. Jake McCohen's a good player. Chris Newstrom, not really a catcher. Trey Snyder wound up being that exact player for me in the Colorado series. John Vaughns. Look at this player. Fully developed at age 23. Pretty good corner outfielder. I might grab him just based on his current ratings. Although, Brett Wikrowski probably could pitch in my rotation right now. Only 21, so there's still room for improvement. Definitely going to take a couple of those guys if they're still there in the incoming rounds. A lot of high floor guys, surprisingly. Good guys to fill out our depth in our system. Yeah, let's go look at some of these arms here. So I think Jake McCohen is one of the guys. So I'm going to get him, I think. Although John's still here. I feel like we have this profile, and this isn't like a really desirable fit. You know what? Let's take Wichrowski. He wants like no money. Let's grab him here. And then let's see if we can get a couple more arms to throw in our system and kind of increase our floor. Let's go to pitchers. Talon Bell's still here. He's got some two-way potential, although, he's probably better as a pitcher. He doesn't throw too hard. He's not a big guy. I don't think he'll make it. Russ Felder, another small guy. That's not something I would normally look for, but he was like, what was he? 5'10", 155. He could grow into his body, but I don't know if that's something I really want. Jake Eddington, I think, is the guy we're going to grab here. Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll send the rest of the draft, come back, and recap it in just a second. All right, so really quick, we'll go over kind of how these rounds went. So let's start off with, I guess we'll start off with Ethan Murray here. In the 10th round, he fell. I have money available. I had $24 million, so he wanted something significantly above $12 million. I threw $14 million at him. I mean, I'm not using the money for anything else this year, so figured I may as well toss it at him. Risky for an 18-year-old, but I think, all things considered, it's worth trying to get a top prospect in here. Nash Wagner, another guy we went over slot with, or I guess a guy we gave a bonus to outside of the 5th round. Talon Bell was our 5th round pick. Jake Eddington, our 4th, and Brett Wichrowski we took in the 3rd. I think I might have gone over that. Some other picks we made. We took this guy, Jason Woodward, in the 6th round. Trevor O'Donnell in the 7th. These are just high floor guys to fill out my system. Malstedt. We got Nash Wagner. We mentioned him. In the 11th round, we took another high upside guy, PJ Morlando, a guy who fell. Not really a catcher, but this bat will play at first base, so I think it's worth a shot in the 11th round. Rene Lastres in the 12th round. Good leader, high work ethic, high intelligence, good catcher. Martinez Gomez we took here. Brooks Wright, just some more organization filler. Josh Moylan was an interesting player. Got him pretty late in the 15th round. Pretty decent current ratings. Coleman Brigman, another guy who's got a high floor. Drew Backman, Trent Kronowski, Bianchi, and Austin Emner was our last pick. So really quick going through that. We now sit at 44 and 50. I tried to look for some trades for like Kenta Maeda. I guess we could do this right now, but I didn't get anything that came up when I looked the first time. And now some stuff's coming up, so that's good. I'm not really looking for anyone crazy. Jonathan India, honestly, isn't a bad fit. Or Brendan Donovan might be a better version of him. Looks like he's still making the minimum. Pretty interesting. See, Zach Eflin's someone I thought the Rays would be willing to eat some of his deal. And I went to go, just throw in any prospect. I was looking at Mason Hauer. A guy who's pretty easy to get in OTP. And now they're willing to throw him in. So maybe I should have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm going to go off camera, see if I can make some trades, and we'll come back in just a second. All right, so let's hop into All-Star Weekend. And God, I think we're in the NL. So this is the AL. Kind of how everything shakes up. Want to look? Ton of players. Seems like way more than usual, but that could just be me. Freaking loudest motorcycle in the world. And for our representative, we're looking for NAS. We have David Hensley, who is a part-time player. We have anyone else? Does not look like. Not surprising, particularly. Yeah, so David Hensley is our guy. The whopping 113 WRC plus 1.7 WAR. A guy who I might look to deal anyway. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. He has some value. So let's go shop him around really quick. See what anyone's offering. Preferably just looking for prospects, but we could look at a guy like Ian Anderson too, I guess. Or Brandon Shoemake. Alright, so we'll just look for anyone that looks any decently interesting. Bo Naylor. And that's not crazy. He's not really a catcher, but that bat can play in the outfield. Corey Lee, another guy who's not really a catcher. Nick Lofton. Mark Vientos, a little masher. First base type. Nick Gonzalez, a 25-year-old who's not fully developed. Zach Deloach. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Randy Vasquez, an interesting pitcher. We kind of went that route in the Rocky save. That didn't really work. Yeah, I think I'll pass on that for now. I'm really interested in the Bo Naylor thing. Just want to confirm. Make sure the Guardians, they are in it, so that makes sense why they would want a deal for him. Bo Naylor not on their Major League roster right now. Yeah, not terribly, shocking. So, I think it's a smart trade. David Hensley, who's 28 now. A good player. A really good player, obviously. An all-star. Maybe I should send through the all-star day. Obviously an all-star, but, not a guy who's going to be around long-term. And Bo Naylor could be like a corner outfield, first base, part-time catcher. I think this makes a lot of sense. So we're going to go ahead. Jake Fox is an interesting player. Just want to see if anyone else is interesting on this team. Maybe we could eat some salary on someone. Oh, and they also have MJ Melendez, apparently, behind the plate. So that makes sense. Yeah, they're pretty set at catcher. Luis Torrance is their backup, who's fine. So let's pull this trade pull the trigger on this trade. Bo Naylor, slot him in. He is a lefty, which not ideal in our current alignment because we do have a ton of lefties. But JJ Bleday might have run his course as a Rule 5 pick, so I think I might just release him. Unfortunately, it just hasn't worked out. I had high hopes for him, but if we're not going to keep him next year, there's no point in keeping him on the 26-man roster. So we're going to release Bleday back to the A's, and I do want to call up Grant McCray. I don't know if I was right at the right time, though. I might go with Brandon Dixon instead. That would make a little more sense as that right-handed platoon. And I'm going to put Naylor in as our DH for now. And Dixon will back up. If he plays some second, he can fake it at second. I don't really care that much. So Dixon will slot in here. He can bat lead off. That's fine. So I don't think there's much else to do at the deadline. Oh, I should mention Kenta Maeda went out with a torn rotator cuff. Was having a really good season, and I should have freaking traded him before he got hurt because now I can't trade him. So Hedges is pissed. Dude, you're batting 134. Relax. But it might be a good time to see if Grandal has any value out of the market. Because I wouldn't mind just rolling with Hedges as our catcher. He does have quite a bit of value. Cole Carrig, a guy they're interested in dealing. Gilberto Jimenez, another guy. Connor Stain, that name sounds familiar. This guy's actually not a bad arm for being a 20 overall guy. These are actually some decent pitchers from the Astros here. Organizational filler, Victor Santos might be the most interesting guy I've seen here. Daniel Palencia. Yeah, I'm actually very interested in Palencia and Santos. So high A, both in high A, Cole Carrig in triple A. Let's see if I can get all three of these guys. So Santos, Carrig, Santos, and then Carrig. I don't want anything crazy. I'm not against giving up any of these relievers. Besides, I want to keep Cano around. He's been really good. But, Arias I'd probably prefer to keep over Nunez. Although, both are really nice pitchers. Maybe Moran's the guy. 27. He's had an awesome season, though. Oh, Carlos Garcia. Kind of sitting in my minor league team. Yeah, this makes sense. So, the Red Sox, who are a win now, they get Yasmani Grandal, who's had a really good season. The bat's not really there, but the defense has been. And they also get a relief arm that they can throw in. Has a couple option years. And we get Daniel Palencia, pretty decent arm. Victor Santos, potential starter in the future. And Cole Carrig, who is a third base utility type. Good speed, hit well in AAA. So we're going to pull the trigger on this one. And yeah, players aren't happy, but that's life on an expansion team. So Cesar Salazar, who's hit really well in AAA, he'll get the call up to be our backup catcher. We'll put Hedges in there every day. We'll play Salazar every other, though. And that's how it'll look here. So I think it's the last trade we'll probably do. Everyone else is controllable through multiple seasons. And yeah, we'll probably go ahead to the deadline, come back in just a second, see if there's anything else to do. Yeah, so we're here at the deadline. We had a couple interesting offers come our way, but decided against any of them. We're just going to roll with this squad going to the end of the year. Jacob Amaya did get hurt, unfortunately, so we called up Wilfredo Tovar. Hasn't done anything at the plate, but a decent defender out there. So just going to fight to the end of the year. I might just recap the end of the season in this episode. So we'll be back at season's end. Alrighty, so we're back, and Nashville Stampede wound up finishing 70-92 on the year. Not nearly as bad as I would have expected. 10th in runs against, 14th in runs scored. We weren't absolutely bottom of the barrel, so that's good, I guess. Let's go over what happened kind of in the second half here. really quick before we hop out of here. So Tanner Banks, we wound up giving a couple starts to at the end of the year. We gave him about a month and a half worth of starts, and he was pretty fantastic. As a starter, 36 innings, 2.5 ERA, not walking many guys, striking out a ton, at least relatively, compared to what his ratings are. And then as a reliever, he was just as good. So Tanner Banks, we might have found something in him. His ratings are way up, and really excited for him. Tanner Houck kind of pitched like an ace for most of the year. Only threw 152 innings, but he got off to a really good start. Kind of cratered in August and September, but overall, a building block for the future, at least, in the near immediate future. Same with Morejón, who was pretty good all year. Not quite as good as Houck, but still really solid. Ricardo Sanchez was a fine filler guy. Really fell off after a dominant start to the season. I don't think I went through his splits, how good he was in April. And most of May and June, too, but, at the end of the year, not quite as good. So, we called up this guy, Wan Tai Choi, for 3 starts, and he was pretty solid. I mean, the peripheral's not quite as good as the ERA, but still happy with him. Ben Brown was a big disappointment. Gave him plenty of starts, and he just wasn't very good. He was much better in the bullpen, it looks, but as a starter, this is all levels. Yeah, as a starter, woof. 6.65 ERA. As a reliever, he was pretty bad too, but I feel like he was a little better, at least just by the eye test. Ronnie Henriquez had a really tough end of the season. Check out his splits in August and September. He was brutal. In July as well, so hopefully he can turn it around and come back as a key part of maybe our rotation next year. Moran and Cano were really good at the back end. Called up Steven Gonsalves, a guy we got in the expansion draft. He was good in a couple of innings, threw out 11 innings for us. Davey was pretty solid as our opener / long reliever. Nunez was really good, and Arias as well. We called up Gomez to be an opener / long reliever. He was really good in that role. And Austin Schulfer, I guess we didn't really talk about him, but he'll probably be gone next year, I'd imagine. So, as for the hitting, there's a lot to look forward to. So, James Outman had a really nice season, 2.7 WAR year. We'll take that all day out of our first overall pick in the expansion draft. Led our offense. He was really good. I'm sure this is Major League. Ivan Castillo wound up being our second most valuable player, mostly due to his defense. He played quite a bit of shortstop, was really good at second, and played a little bit of third as well. Mike Yastrzemski, pretty solid. I benched him at the end of the year. I just, wanted to give some other guys a shot. So not a ton of playing time toward the end. Matthias came on late. Kind of check how he did in September. He really crushed it. And August as well, he was quite good. I don't know how much time that was in the majors or minors, but all of September was in the majors. And yeah, he was pretty solid. Bo Naylor, who we wound up trading for at the deadline, wound up starting at first base every day for me and turned in a pretty good half season. So happy with that as a building block. Will Benson was solid. Probably not worth $4 million, but I don't know. We'll probably bring him back. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. That'll be a couple weeks. We have to decide on that. Devin Mann brought up toward the end of the year. Adam Frazier I signed. We didn't really have any infielders, so I picked him up as a street free agent. And, he just played second base for me. I don't really care. Grant McRae, I called him up right after the deadline. Wound up getting hurt for 4 to 5 weeks. I think it might have been 15 games into his stint. Came back at the end of the year and wound up putting up, these don't look like fancy, good numbers, but I'm very excited for him in the future. Tovar, Pavin Smith wasn't really any good. Hedges Pache just did not hit anything. And Salazar didn't hit at all after crushing AAA. So yeah, that's pretty much how the team did. Kind of see how we ended the year. It was a pretty good first 2 months, and then we played like an expansion team for the next 4. So overall, I'm happy with how the season went. We wound up bolstering our farm system quite a bit, getting some upper minors depth and guys who can play right now. So we'll see how the offseason goes. I should update on our draft picks. So Molinax, I promoted him to A-ball right after the season ended. He was really good down there, so I think he deserves a shot up in the majors. We did wind up signing Ethan Murphy to that ridiculous $12 million signing bonus. And he didn't really do much for me, but whatever. He's still young. Aiden Harris didn't do a ton. And a lot of these guys made appearances up in my upper minors, so well, I thought they would have. Okay, Woodward did. He pitched quite a few games. Trenton O'Donnell was up in high A. Yeah, just a lot of these guys wound up, making it to my upper, at least out of rookie ball, they made it. So that'll wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with the off season next time, and we'll see you then. Bye.